Hello, everybody. It's so great to be here. I've got some slides that worked quite easily, which is nice and smooth, unlike normal. So same as I thought, what can I give that's going to be of value to other people? And since working for a company specialized in mental health, I've learned a lot about imposter syndrome and my experiences with it, and even realizing that I even experienced imposter syndrome myself. But what I'm going to talk about is what is it? I'm not an expert at all, but I'm going to talk about what is it, what I perceive it to be, why I felt like this and how I felt like this, and also how I've managed it. So what is imposter syndrome? It's doubting your own abilities, not feeling good enough, having the belief that other people have inflated views of your ability, or feeling like a fraud. It's shocking that around 70% of people have reported these feelings, which is just crazy. I was completely unaware of how common these feelings were until I worked for a company specializing in mental health. So I can imagine that a lot of people on this webinar weren't aware of these super unhelpful thoughts and how often people feel them. So this is what I wanted to talk about my experiences, how I've dealt with them, and how I've managed them as well. So why have I felt like this? Why do salespeople feel like this? Why do people feel like this? There are definitely some reasons to do with childhood and the world as we see it today that I am nowhere near as experienced enough to talk about. But in terms of me and myself, every new job that I've had, I felt like this, some sort of self-doubt, especially in the new industry. SaaS tech can be very daunting. And for I'm sure a lot of people on this webinar, they're new to their roles, and it can be really scary. First starting out in sales, you have positive calls, you have not so positive calls. We all have them. I used to put the positive calls down to luck, and naturally focus on those negative calls more, which we all naturally do, is focus on the negative more than the positive. I'm sure this resonates with a lot of people having those negative and positive calls, and also putting the positive calls down to luck. Likewise, moving into a more senior role here at Spill, I sort of said to myself, am I ready for this? Like, do I have enough experience for this? And always doubted myself. Whereas actually, everybody on this call was employed for a reason. The interview process for a lot of, especially like Venatrix's interview process, is tough. And you did well, and you're in that role for a reason, right? So I think moving into a new role can be really tough. And then lastly, I had an experience in my last company where I had a colleague who was older than me, more experienced than me. And that often made me doubt myself. But we're all at different stages. And in an SDR role, like has been mentioned already today, some people are fresh out of uni, some people haven't been to uni, some people it's a career change, and we're all at different stages. I think this can be quite a common feeling that people at different ages are at different places to you. So then how have I managed these unhelpful thoughts? Obviously working for a company like Spill in mental health and having those ideas and opinions around me has really helped me to understand what imposter syndrome is and how to overcome it. But some key ways. So firstly, feedback. Ask for feedback and give feedback. Positive feedback and constructive criticism. Positive feedback helps you to counteract those unhelpful thoughts, makes you feel confident again. Similarly, constructive criticism can make you understand that the feelings that you are feeling are a lot worse than it actually is. And it can give you areas to focus on that are true, and real areas of improvement. And then I think it's also really important to recognize that salespeople have good and bad weeks. We all like the good and bad calls. Some weeks are better than others. It's not, if you're persistent and you're consistent, the good things will come. So not to doubt yourselves in those bad weeks, but just to keep going. Also trying to reframe how we think about how we look at success. We've all got targets, whether it's discovery meetings booked, demos booked, opportunities made. Instead of just focusing on those targets, which yes, they are important, to focus on some of the good calls that may not have led to a meeting booked. You've had that good call, you've had that positive conversation, and celebrating it and seeing the good in it. It's a skill to be talking to people. Like everybody on here has got these personal skills, right? And I think we should really celebrate those more positive calls that, okay, they're not interested, it's not the right time, they don't have budget, but you had a good conversation with somebody and you built up that trust. And I think it's important to just reframe that success and see the direction that you're going. You're having better calls, that everything's increasing, but don't just focus on that negative, because it is really easy to do, and I'm so guilty for it. And then also accepting that you don't know everything and you're not going to know everything. You're new to sales. I certainly don't. Like, even being in, I mean, I've been in sales for a year and a half, and I'm now managing a team. I certainly don't know everything. I still go to all of these webinars. I still learn new things all the time. But when you're first starting out, it's okay to say, I don't know. Say it. Firstly, it takes a weight off your shoulders to not feel like you have to know, and other people are also not going to know. So ask questions. And yeah, it's fine to say that you don't know if you're in a new industry and you're in a new role. And then lastly, this might be a bit of a controversial one, but try and limit your use of LinkedIn. I've been through stages where I've been obsessed with LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is so valuable to us, right? For us SDRs and our salespeople. Like in my last job, most of my outbound leads came from LinkedIn. However, there's a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. Everyone on social media posts the best of themselves, and it's the same on LinkedIn. If you're worrying that you're not doing as well as somebody that you're seeing on LinkedIn, chances are they're not posting about their bad days as much as they're posting about their good days. So yeah, give yourself a break. And that is everything. So thank you guys for listening. I hope I could add some value. And if you have any questions about anything, like everybody else, feel free to message me on LinkedIn.